Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, right here on the John Campea Show. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it's an honor and a privilege to have you guys joining me here today, as it is every day as we get together and talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, maybe a little bit of big television stuff as well. Now, we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about today. Bunch of rumors making their ways around, such as maybe Alicia Vikander maybe being out as Lara Croft, the possibility of Meryl Streep taking over the role of Leia, and a few things more. But before we get to all that kind of stuff, let's go right off the top. Now, as all of us know, Avengers Infinity War is coming on April 27th. They moved it up 1 week from May 4th to the 27th. And now we found out that they've just secured their Chinese release date. Now, it's always a little bit of a question mark. China does have a quote or a limitation, if you will, on how many Western films or non-Chinese films can come into the country. And then even if they do, you never really know when those movies are going to get aired. But now we do know the Chinese release date as well. And the Chinese release date is going to be May 11th, just 2 weeks after Avengers Infinity War opens in North America. Now, sometimes the Chinese release dates can happen a month, 2 months, 3 months, or more after a film makes its debut in North America. This one, they seem to be keeping a little bit tighter. Now, that means it would have only been coming out 1 week after the original release date of Avengers Infinity War, which is, of course, was May 11th, but it does get a May 11th release date. So we're going to have a better and an easier time kind of tracking how its international numbers are doing. Sometimes it's difficult to track how a movie is doing worldwide because of how staggered the release dates are throughout the year. Like, you can have it open in one country one date and then open in its final country like 6 months later. This one seems to be much more compact, so we're going to have, as fans, an easier time kind of tracking the worldwide progress, at the box office at any rate, of Avengers Infinity War. It is coming April 27th. I get to see it on April 23rd. Kind of excited about that. Very stoked. All right, guys. Now, before we get into the main topics of the day, when you watch the John Campea Show, I want to make sure you guys are caught up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, even if we don't have time to go into it into a lot of detail. So that's why we put together this little segment called the Movie News Feed. First up, WWE superstar John Cena has been promoting his upcoming comedy Blockers when a journalist asked him if he would be interested in doing a Fast and Furious movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Cena said the following: "That stuff is beyond my control, but I would absolutely love that opportunity. That, for me, would be a dream. I'm never really like, oh, I'd like to work with this person, but I just think between our chemistry in the live performance setting, there's something certainly there with The Rock. So that would be my one name on the wish list." Granted, it's unlikely that such a pairing would happen, but stranger things have happened. Blockers opens in theaters on April 6th. Next up, Luke Skywalker, aka Mark Hamill, was recently interviewed and asked about all the new Star Wars films and material that has been announced, from Solo to Episode 9 to Rian Johnson's films to the Game of Thrones creators' films, all the way to Jon Favreau's Star Wars TV series coming to the Disney streaming channel. Hamill seems to think Disney should slow down a little when he said the following: "I will say they should pace themselves because you don't want to oversaturate it. I said to Disney, really? 5 months after we come out comes Solo, a Star Wars story? Can't you at least wait until Christmas?" But they've got things booked. They're doing Marvel and their own movies, so that's beyond my purview. There is obviously a lot of Star Wars coming. We'll just have to see how Disney is planning on spacing them out. Next, back in 2011, Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston teamed up for the comedy Just Go With It. Don't remember it? That's okay, nobody else does either. Anyway, according to reports, the pair are planning to team up once again for their upcoming original Netflix film, Murder Mystery. From Deadline, Sanders portrays a New York City cop who's vacationing in Europe with his wife, played by Jennifer Aniston, when they become suspects in the murder of an elderly billionaire. The project is the 6th for Sandler for Netflix, and Aniston's first. Workaholics co-creator Kyle Newacek is expected to direct, with The Rundown's James Vanderbilt writing the script. Wish I could be more excited for this than I am, but who knows. Next up, the two-time Oscar-nominated actor Richard Jenkins, who was most recently nominated for his role in The Shape of Water, will star alongside of Westworld star Evan Rachel Wood and Jane the Virgin's Gina Rodriguez in an upcoming untitled heist film from Annapurna and Plan B Entertainment. The story centers on a woman named Old Dolio, whose life is turned upside down when her parents, amateur con artists, invite an outsider to join their biggest heist yet. Wood will play Old Dolio with Jenkins as one of the shady parents who are confronted by the mistakes of their poor parenting. Meanwhile, Rodriguez has been cast as the woman who learns of the family's secrets and is brought into the fold. Man, you know what? No matter how many Oscars Jenkins gets nominated for over the rest of his career, he'll always be the dad from Step Brothers to me. Next, speaking of Oscar-caliber actors, Sissy Spacek and Julia Roberts have a combined 10 Oscar nominations between them and 2 Oscar wins. Now, the pair will be teaming up for the upcoming Amazon series Homecoming. Not to be confused with Spider-Man Homecoming. That would be quite a movie. According to Variety, the series will star Julia Roberts, Bobby Cannavale, and Stephen James, with Spacek in a recurring role, and is described as a psychological thriller that centers on a caseworker at a facility treating soldiers returning from war, and a veteran eager to rejoin civilian life. The series will actually be based on a popular podcast. Next up, actress Amber Heard, who we recently saw in Justice League as Mera and will return to the same role in December's Aquaman, has just been cast in the upcoming film Gully. The Hollywood Reporter says that Heard will star alongside All the Money in the World and Lean on Pete star Charlie Plummer as the mother of his character, a traumatized teenager who is one of the organizers of a riot. The film will focus on Plummer and 2 other teenagers who have experienced childhood trauma and are plotting the riot in a dystopian version of Los Angeles. You know, regardless of things in her personal life, I enjoy Heard's work as an actress quite a bit, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do with a role like this one. Next, while we are all counting down the days to Avengers Infinity War, this is a good opportunity to remind all of us that Scarlett Johansson plays more than just Black Widow and has just signed on to star in the upcoming film Jojo Rabbit, to be directed by Thor Ragnarok Helmer Taika Waititi. Slash Film describes the project as a World War II set film and a satirical dramedy about a young nationalistic German boy who creates an imaginary Adolf Hitler to befriend. But his world is turned upside down when he discovers that his mother, to be played by Johansson, is hiding a Jewish girl in their home. My mouth is literally watering thinking of what Taika Waititi can do with a scenario like this. Next, it is the end of an era, my friends. I hope you're all sitting down for this, but Sci-Fi has just announced that the next installment of the Sharknado franchise, Sharknado 6, will indeed be the final in the franchise. According to CNN, Sci-Fi has decided to conclude the franchise with the 6th film. The as of yet untitled Sharknado 6 will have a time travel theme, of course it will, and bring back stars Ian Ziering, Tara Reid, and Vivica A. Fox. But don't worry everybody, I'm sure they'll find some other ridiculous scenario to come up with to replace it. For that, but don't worry about it. We were pretty much at the end of the whole thing there anyway, so sorry about that. We had a little bit of a cutoff there. Technical problems on the John Campea Show. What else is new? Okay, with all that stuff out of the way, let's get into the first official topic of the day. And the first official topic today comes to us from our Patreon supporter, Mr. Moody, who writes, I am hearing reports that Alicia Vikander is out as Lara Croft. Is there any truth to it? I thought she did a great job with an above average film. What are your thoughts, sir? And bring on the filthy. All right, thanks a lot for the question, Mr. Moody. And yeah, there are these rumors going around that Alicia Vikander is out as Lara Croft. I think that's absolute nonsense. This isn't coming from any official source. This isn't coming from anybody in the know. Now, this is really where it's coming from. Where it's really coming from is the financial struggle of Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider's made about $210 to $212 million worldwide on a nearly $100 million budget. You know that's not good enough. You know that means they're losing money on this film. So it does bring into question whether or not they do another one. What it does legitimately bring into question, like when you make a movie like this and it loses you money, the studio isn't running up to do a sequel. They're just not. So that's really where this is coming from. And so then some people, this kind of spun out and you got broken telephones that Alicia Vikander's out. What I think the real thing here is that it's probable that we're not going to see Tomb Raider 2. Now, I don't know that for sure. The studio has not made any sort of an announcement. I actually thought Tomb Raider was pretty good. Not great, but I thought it was pretty good. One of the best video game movies ever made, for sure. So it was okay. But Alicia Vikander did great as Lara Croft. She was wonderful. And if there are financial struggles with the movie, it ain't because of her. It's not like people aren't going out to see it because they don't like Alicia Vikander as Lara Croft. That's ridiculous. If they were going to make another one, I'm almost 100% guaranteed they would bring her back, because you know they signed her to a multi-film deal, so it's up to them if they want to bring her back, and there's no reason in the world they would want to get rid of her when she's one of the highlights of the film. If this movie does not get made, if they do not make a sequel, it's because it kind of flopped. That's why they wouldn't bring it back. Not because she was the problem, not because of anything else, it's because of that. Now, we'll keep our eye on this story. Let's see what develops. And as of right now, you should take that as a completely unfounded rumor. All right, let's move on now to the next topic. And the next topic today comes to us from Jason Middlemen, who writes, "Hey, John, I'm facing a crisis. Oh, no. On April 13th, 2 movies I'm really excited to see open up. Borg vs. McEnroe and Rampage. Which one should I be seeing on opening day first? Love your show and bring on the filthy." Well, thanks a lot, man. And tough choice, man, because first of all, I always thought the Borg McEnroe movie sounded fascinating. And I always thought the Rampage movie sounded stupid. But then the marketing came out, and now I'm actually completely on board with this. I think the trailers for the Rampage movie with The Rock have been fantastic. I've loved them. I've loved the marketing. It feels like it's going to be a really fun ride. I cannot wait to see it. However, if you're just asking me my opinion, Borg McEnroe. Borg McEnroe is the film you go to see. It is spectacular. You get a fantastic performance out of Shia LaBeouf, who, despite all of his craziness, he's one hell of an actor. The movie is fantastic. I love these things that are based on true stories. I grew up as a little kid watching John McEnroe play tennis. It's a wonderful movie. Rampage maybe as well, but I would say, look, definitely see both of them. But if you're asking me which one of the two you should run out and see first, I'm going to suggest Borg McEnroe is the one you should do. All right, let's move on now to the final emailed in topic today. And the final emailed in topic today comes to us from Dan Sokolov, who writes, Dan Sokolov, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. There have been rumors that Meryl Streep could possibly replace Carrie Fisher as Leia in episode 9. This got me thinking. Though I think recasting is fine, is it a good idea to get somebody this famous for such an iconic role? Will Streep's fame distract us from the Leia character? Well, all right, there's 2 real questions here. One, would Streep be playing Leia? The other one, would she be a good idea for it? Could her fame distract us? Well, let's take the second part first. Has Meryl Streep's fame detracted from any of the 17, 18, or 19 Academy Award nominations and several wins that she's had in her career? Nope. Because she is simply the greatest actress of all time. So maybe for the first split second you see Meryl Streep, but after that you just lose her in the character. She becomes the character. That is why she is the most decorated, celebrated actress of all time. She's simply the greatest. So no, that's if that were the case, then no famous actor should ever play any role ever. As long as they're a good enough actor that they can lose themselves in the character, right? So there are some big names, like for instance, could Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who I love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You know I love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But if you wanted to have him play, I don't know, President John F. Kennedy, okay, you would just instantly get distracted by The Rock. And while The Rock has become a very serviceable actor, absolutely, he's become a good talent, is he good enough of an actor to completely have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson get lost in the character of John F. Kennedy? Probably not. A Meryl Streep is. A Harrison Ford is. An Anthony Hopkins is. A Daniel Day-Lewis is. That's why they're the best. All right? So to me, that's not an issue at all. That's not even partially an issue at this point. The other thing, now let's get back to the first thing about these Meryl Streep rumors. Let's be very, very, very clear here. These are rumors. All right? I don't even know where the rumors got started. Some people thought they started with this fan petition. It didn't. The fan petition was in response to the rumors. Where the rumors started, I have no idea. As far as I know, there is absolutely no credible source that this can be traced back to as a legit thing. Is it possible it's been slightly leaked out by Disney to gauge interest? Sure, all that's possible, but let's be very clear here. This Meryl Streep rumor is by definition, a rumor. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. All right, with that being said, let's indulge it for a second. First of all, you guys know how I feel about the need, not the question, the need to recast Princess Leia. It is the ultimate sign of disrespect and spitting in the face of the legacy of Carrie Fisher to not recast Leia. To not bring this character of Princess Leia that Carrie Fisher spent decades bringing to life for us, to not now bring that character across the finish line with their narrative conclusion is a spit in the face and a slap in the face of massive disrespect to Carrie Fisher and her legacy. You are spitting in Carrie Fisher's face to say they should just write Leia out. That's my opinion. Now, even like, I don't get mad at people who want that because I know they believe misguidedly, but they believe that's the way to respect Carrie Fisher is just to kill off Leia. And that's why I'm not going to get mad at anybody who thinks that, because I know your heart's coming from the place that you want to respect Carrie Fisher. But I'm here to tell you, you are spitting in Carrie Fisher's face and in the face of her legacy if you don't have this character she brought to us for decades and allow that character to go across the finish line. So you know that's how I feel about that. It's massive disrespect to not carry on the Princess Leia character. Massive disrespect. But anyway, Meryl Streep is the ultimate choice. Not just because she is the greatest actress of all time, but because of the incredible connection and bond she had with Carrie Fisher. Remember, Carrie Fisher wrote a novel in 1987, 1988 called Postcards from the Edge. They turned that into a movie, and it's semi-autobiographical, that Carrie Fisher kind of based it a little bit on her own life. And who'd they go out to cast to put in the movie version that Carrie Fisher wrote the script for as well? They went out and got Meryl Streep. Carrie Fisher wanted Meryl Streep to play her. And they carried on their friendship and their relationship over the years. They're like right all the way back from when they did Postcards from the Edge, right up until the tragic passing of Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher and Meryl Streep had a great relationship. And to the point that, of course, we mentioned already before that Carrie Fisher actually had Meryl Streep play her autobiographical character in Postcards from the Edge once already. I do not believe there is anybody else that Carrie Fisher, other than her own daughter, I don't believe there's anybody else in the world that Carrie Fisher would want to play her ongoing character than the woman she had basically play her so many years ago and maintain that great relationship with, on top of the fact that Meryl Streep is singularly the greatest actress of all time. Undisputed. Greatest actress of all time. So, yeah, look, we don't know if these rumors are true. They are most likely not true. Let's be really clear about that. These are unfounded, unbased rumors, all right, that this could be happening. But if we're going to indulge them for a second and talk about it, if those are true, it's absolutely brilliant. It'd be absolutely brilliant and a no-brainer, and exactly what I believe, as a fan of Carrie Fisher, believe what Carrie Fisher would want. The connection is too great. The greatest actress in the world who had a great relationship with Carrie Fisher and kind of played Carrie Fisher in a movie once already, it's a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer. You are going to be really hard-pressed to come up with some legitimate arguments against it. It's just absolutely a no-brainer. So I hope these rumors are true. I firmly doubt that they're true. I don't honestly know that Disney has the guts to do it, but it would be really great if they did. And Meryl Streep is no brainer, and I have no doubt Meryl Streep would do it. I have no doubt in my mind Meryl Streep would do it. The respect she had for Carrie Fisher and the relationship that they had, no doubt in my mind that she would do it. No doubts at all. All right. With that topic out of the way, we're going to go over to your live questions in just a second, but you know, I'm going to point out here that you guys know that one of the sponsors now of the John Campea Show is the Stardust Up. I've turned down a lot of sponsorships because they may be great, but they're just things I don't use or I don't think that would be valuable to the viewers of the John Campea Show. Stardust is different. It's a great little app that allows you to record up to 3 to 30-second reactions and reviews to share with everybody. And what I have you guys do is record your reactions and tag me in it to use them. Now, I gave you guys some homework the other day, said, you know what? The brand new Steven Spielberg movie is out, Ready Player One. Get out and see it, and then hop on Stardust and let me know what you think of this new Ready Player One movie. A whole ton of you guys sent in responses to that. Most of you guys loved it. Some of you didn't. So let's take a look at what some of you guys are saying and your responses and reactions to Ready Player One.
I'm proud to be an American today. I'm proud of video game movies, comic books, all kinds of adventures, explorers, E.T. I don't know, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Star Wars, everything. I'm just proud to be a consumer. I'm proud to be a gamer. Proud to know that my life has meaning with Ready Player One. It's purpose. Everything is now, it's the Matrix, everything. Purpose. What?
There's another incredible adventure that I definitely want to go on numerous times. I freaking love this movie. I thought the whole cast did a good job. I liked hanging out with their avatars. I thought the villain was also pretty good. I thought the action was so sick, particularly this racing scene. There are many 80s references in this movie, but you don't need to know each and every single one of them to still enjoy this movie. It's not just an action movie. There's also a mystery to it. The only problem that I had with this movie was that we didn't focus much on Wade's life back at home, so I really didn't care about that stuff.
Ready Player One is a well-made film. I personally cannot connect to anything in it. Not the story, not the characters, not the romance. None of it clicked with me. It is, has some great visual effects. Most of the human avatars kind of reach that uncanny valley area, but other than that, it's really good. I feel I'm a minority in this, but hey, I hope you guys enjoy.
All the references and Easter eggs that were throughout the movie were subtle, not quite in your face like I was kind of fearing. Everyone said that going in. The Steven Spielberg, back at it, probably my favorite film of his since Catch Me If You Can, which was a long time ago.
Just got done watching Ready Player One, and I absolutely loved it. From the very beginning to the very end, I wanted more. The visuals, everything. The DeLorean, oh my God, I loved it. Classic Spielberg. Everything I loved about it was perfect.
Hey, I saw Ready Player One last night. I was really looking forward to this movie. Unfortunately, I read the book first, and the book's amazing, so the movie kind of pales in comparison. In the book, the world is much more realistic and gritty. They touch on much more mature themes like racism, sexism, religion. The villain's much more menacing. Wade's much more of a badass. The love story is much more believable and really gets you, pulls at the heartstrings. Check out the movie, but really check out the book.
Okay, so Ready Player One is based off a terribly written book, which is mostly just a list of references intercut with plot. What Ready Player One, the movie, does is actually bother telling a story. Visually, it is extremely well put together. I can't imagine how many man-hours went into those effects. I didn't hate it. I actually liked it quite a bit, so I'm pleasantly surprised as someone who really did not care for the book.
I saw Ready Player One last night and absolutely loved it. I've heard some people saying that the movie changed some aspects from the books, and actually, I'm glad that I did not read the books because I was pleasantly surprised. I was very surprised with the story, with the visuals, with the references, with the direction of Steven Spielberg.
I was really surprised and how amazing that film was. I really liked it, and it was my first Spielberg film, watching it in the theater, and I was really, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought the visuals was good, the story. I loved everything about Ready Player One. So, if you guys haven't seen it, definitely see it in theaters. It's amazing.
Ready Player One, gotta say, really liked it. Best movie of the year so far. Better than Black Panther, and I really, really like Black Panther. Spielberg's best movie since Saving Private Ryan or Catch Me If You Can.
So I just saw Ready Player One, and I have to say, man, at first I wasn't excited to see it, but man, it was an amazing, amazing movie. I think that's probably the best video game movie I have seen in the year 2018.
All right, thank you guys for sending in all your responses and reactions to me on that. I absolutely love Ready Player One. I absolutely adore this movie. I cannot wait to run out and watch it again. As you said, the majority of people loved it. Not everybody loved it. Some people a little iffy on it. And I'm sure that's the beautiful thing about movies, man. The pure subjectivity of it. But hopefully you'll enjoy it. I highly recommend you run out and give Ready Player One a shot. Okay, with that out of the way, let's go over to the live questions today that you guys have sent in. And our first live question today comes to us from Alexander Helmer, who writes, did you like Professor Pig in Gotham? I felt like he was one of Gotham's best villains and was handled really well. I also loved his musical number. I was okay. Here's the thing. I like the idea of the Professor Pig, and I like the whole mythology around him. When we actually got to him and had face-to-face conversations with him, it lost me a little bit. But the whole mystery of what he was, all the things he was doing, like the killing of the police and all that kind of stuff, all that made him a fascinating villain. I found it lost a notch or two once we came face to face with him. I didn't like the person of the villain as much as I liked the idea of the villain. So that's kind of where I am on that. Luna Comics writes, I have a confession. No matter what, I keep falling asleep in Lord of the Rings movies. They're just too long. But do you remember a time when you fell asleep through a movie? Not really. But look, I'm not a good example though, because I'm one of these guys that I have problems falling asleep. Like about a year ago, I actually started taking sleeping pills, like some sleep aid pills, because I would 3 times a week, I would just lay in bed awake until 4 or 5 a.m. And that's been going on for decades. So I finally started taking some sleeping aids about a year ago. So I'm somebody who has a hard time falling asleep, unlike my wife. My wife, Anne, and her brother Ray, who does a lot of the graphics here on the show. I have never seen a family of people with a bigger, more powerful exhibition of the mutant power of sleep. Like, these people can fall asleep like this. Anne can get in the car if I'm driving and sit down for 3 seconds and be asleep. She'll get home from work. We're like, oh, cool, let's watch Lucifer together. And we'll pop on Lucifer. And she'll cuddle up with me. And 3 seconds later, I hear, she's out. She's out. Ray, forget Ray. Not only can Ray fall asleep on command at any time, he can fall asleep anywhere. He won't be sitting on the couch. He'll just come in, lay down on the floor, 3 seconds later, out, cold. I do not have that mutant ability. So I don't fall asleep during movies just because it's hard for me to fall asleep. And falls asleep during movies all the time. Even movies she absolutely loves, she falls asleep all the time. So that's a big difference between her and me. Stephen Rowley writes, John, I thought I was the only one who thought Lethal Weapon 4 and thought it was the best one. It was my first introduction to Chris Rock. I mean, I love Lethal Weapon 4, the whole Jet Li angle. And, part of the thing that made it so special was, by the time we get to the 4th film, they'd done such a good job with the previous 3 of building that chemistry and relationship between Murtaugh and Riggs. So that when we get into 4, it's just celebrating that relationship and that chemistry. And then you bring in some new elements as well, and it just killed it for me. So yeah, Lethal Weapon 4, not many people will say 4 is their favorite. I'm one of the few ones, and apparently, Steven, so are you. All right. Next up, Stig100900 writes, is Spielberg better at directing smaller drama films or big budget blockbusters? The answer is yes. That's just it. The answer is yes. Steven Spielberg's the greatest filmmaker of all time, in my opinion. He can do it all. He can do period piece, drama, political intrigue, animated, sci-fi adventure, action, you name it. He can do it. I've never seen another director who comes anywhere close to Steven Spielberg as far as being able to do every kind of movie imaginable and do them awesome. The number of Academy Awards and nominations and how many of his films have been nominated for Best Picture and on and on and on. It's almost just a given now when Steven Spielberg directs a film, it's at least going to be nominated for Best. It's going to be one of the best movies of the year when he directs it. And Ready Player One just kind of takes us back. There's different faces to Steven Spielberg. There's different dimensions to Steven Spielberg. And that whole fantasy action adventure is definitely one of those faces that we don't get to see all the time. We saw a different face of his when he's doing The Post, and a different face when he's doing Schindler's, or a different face when he's doing Lincoln, or a different face when he's doing Munich, or a different, he's got all these different faces. So the answer, honestly, is just, is he better at this or this? The answer is yes. I mean, that's all I can really come up with is yes. Ben Heusa writes, Ready Player One was such a fun ride of a movie. I really love it, and I may go see it for a second time. Now makes me wish it was 2045 and the Oasis exists. I don't know about that, man, because the real world of 2045 looked pretty awful. I don't know that I want to live in that particular world. I'm very happy where we are, thank you very much. But the Oasis kind of thing would be fun. Curtis Lopez writes, where's the compilation or the companion video from yesterday? I'm going to catch up on that today. Here's the reality is, between the John Campea Show, the companion video, and then open mic, I am generally speaking straight for 3 hours, and my throat was getting kind of sore yesterday, so I decided to give it a little bit of a break during the middle of the day. So, and there weren't a whole ton of companion questions to get caught up on, so I thought I'd just push those off to today's companion video. So any of those questions you were expecting to see yesterday, they'll be on today's companion video. Let's see. Stig100900 writes, will Tarantino ever get a director Oscar? Probably. I mean, it depends on how many. If he says he's only doing 1 or 2 more films, then probably not. I don't know. I mean, look, it's weird to think of Tarantino not having an Oscar. However, I don't disagree with any of the years that he was nominated. I don't disagree with who eventually won each year. I remember sitting down and I went through the list once. I don't disagree with any of the people who did win. So that's, once again, just kind of highlights how ridiculously impossible it is to win an Academy Award. Owen Curtis writes, over under 45%, Glass gets first trailer / panel at San Diego Comic-Con. Ooh. It's a good number to set too, 45%, that we get our first look at Glass at Comic-Con. You know what? I'll take the over on that. I certainly don't think it's a sure thing by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're going to set the line at 45%, that's a good line. Yeah, I'll take the over. I will take the over on 45% that we get our first Glass trailer at San Diego Comic-Con. I don't know about a panel because Bruce Willis doesn't just seem to give a shit about anything anymore, so I don't know that he can be bothered to go to San Diego and do a panel, but who knows? Maybe he'll surprise us. Maybe first coming back to this property will, kind of get his engines going. Derek Large writes, could Solo open with Harrison Ford telling young Ben about how he won the Falcon and met Lando, and that sets up the rest of the Star Wars story? I mean, I don't think so. First of all, I don't think Harrison Ford, I think we would have heard about that at this point. I think there's something emotionally satisfying about that for us as fans if they did it. I mean, I'd certainly be down for it. I'd be into it if they did it, but I really don't think that's what they're going to do. Unfortunately, it's a neat idea, and who knows, maybe Ron Howard can come up with something. Maybe that would be cool, but I have my doubts at this point. The number Thor writes, do you think Avengers Infinity War will be in the top 5 all-time box office and beat the last 2 Avengers movies? I do. I do think that'll happen. Let me just double check here with the all-time worldwide, because right now, the number 5 all-time worldwide film is Marvel's The Avengers at 1.5 million. Then we got Avengers Age of Ultron down in the 7th spot. So to get into the top 5 and to beat the previous 2 Avengers movies, it has to clear $1.51 billion. Sorry, $1.518 billion. Now, seeing as Black Panther was just a massive, massive worldwide hit, and Black Panther, I think right now is sitting about 1.3. Actually, where is Black? No, Black Panther is sitting at 1.2. So it would have to do as good as Black Panther and do another $300 million of business on top of that. It's a tall order. Just think of how successful Black Panther is. Now think it's got to make $300 million on top of what Black Panther already did. It's a tall order, but I think yes. I would put $5 on yes that would happen. That's going to happen. All right, let's move on here. Matthew Carrera writes, John, can Tarantino be in the discussion for Best Director without an Oscar? Only has screenplay wins. Absolutely. Yeah. No doubt about it. He's in the discussion. No doubt. I don't know that I'd put him at number 1, but in the discussion, it would be a pointless discussion if Tarantino wasn't part of that discussion. I mean, absolutely. I'm completely with you on that any discussion and really sit down, thought out conversation about the best directors of all time who don't have an Academy Award for directing, that is, you got to have Tarantino in that discussion. Absolutely, he does. Let's see. Matthew also follows up and writes, and don't feel embarrassed about that concert the other day. Seriously, it was really good. Well, thank you so much, Matthew. I appreciate that. Let's see. Jordan Benjamin writes, spent my afternoon watching Hollywood Reporter's The Roundtable videos. They're great, aren't they? What an amazing insight into the industry. Do you have a favorite show? I don't know what BOTF is off the top of my head. Sorry. Like a favorite online show that I like to watch? Gosh, that's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to sit down and think about that. I mean, the Hollywood Reporters Roundtable thing is great. It absolutely is wonderful. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I'd have to think about that. It's a good question. But thanks for bringing that up. If you guys haven't seen those the Hollywood Reporters Roundtable discussion shows, check them out. It is really, really fascinating. Matthew Carrera writes, good name for fans, the Filth Lords. That's not bad. Somebody put Campa-Nuts in there the other day. I wasn't a big fan of that one. Filth Lords, that's not so bad. I like that one. Jordan Benjamin writes, Really hope the recasting of Leia talk isn't true. I just love Carrie far too much to see another person play her. Please, Lucasfilm, write her out. Oh, I absolutely disagree with you, Jordan. That's a spit in the face of Carrie Fisher's legacy. Total spit in the face of Carrie Fisher's legacy. To say, like, here's just how I see it. Carrie Fisher spent all these decades bringing us this character. And now we're supposed to be going to episode 9, which was originally supposed to be very Leia-centered. It was supposed to be her movie to shine. And now because Carrie died, we go, oh, well, screw that character then, throw her away. No, we should be, and Disney should be, Carrie, we've got your back. You can't carry the ball across the finish line, but don't worry about it. Rest in peace. We'll do it for you. We've got your back. We will pick up that ball for you, and we will take it across the finish line. We will take it across that goal line for you, Carrie. Don't you worry about it. It is pissing on her legacy to go, screw the character then. You might as well just yank it out and just piss all over her legacy at that point. To say, just leave. Screw Leia. Screw all that work and all that dedication and all that service to the fans that Carrie Fisher gave that character to bring that character this far, and we're going to say, screw it. We're not going to take it across the finish line for her. Screw it. No way, man. That, like, I respect your opinion on that, but I just have to wholeheartedly, 100% disagree with you. 100% have to disagree with it. Okay, next one. Matt Thornton writes, if Meryl Streep is indeed cast as Leia in episode 9, so long as she gives a great performance and we have a satisfying end of the Leia story, I'm absolutely fine with it. Well, we know she would give a great performance. There were few actresses in Hollywood who knew Carrie Fisher on a personal level as well as Meryl Streep did. And she is the greatest actress of all time. We know she would give a great performance. The other thing is, do they have written out, has JJ written out a great, with the idea they always had about episode 9, have they written a good ending to it, if they've written her into it at all, which I don't think they do. I still think episode 9 is going to come and we're not going to have the Princess Leia character. It upsets me that that's the case, but I think that's the case. Hopefully I'm wrong. We'll have to see as we get closer to it. James B. writes, hey, John, just wanted to say I really appreciate your heartfelt plea to fellow pundits regarding spoiler reviews for Infinity War. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody's going to listen, but for those of you who missed it, basically, this is an open letter to all my fellow film reviewers, YouTubers, all that kind of stuff. I understand the temptation and the advantages of putting out a spoiler review for something before it even opens here in North America. I understand the temptation. However, you must understand that there are a lot of trolls online who haven't seen Avengers Infinity War. They're going to watch your spoiler review before the movie even opens here. They're going to take all that information that you give them in your spoiler review, and then they're going to go around the internet and try to ruin the movie for everybody else. They're going to go into chat boards. We've seen it happen in your chat boards. We've seen it happen in my chat boards. We've seen it happen on Twitter. We've seen it happen everywhere. These trolls, you are going to arm the trolls. You are arming them. You're an arms dealer right now. And I'm just really asking that all my fellow film reviewers out there, all my fellow YouTubers, just at least wait until the movie opens in North America before you drop your spoiler review. That's all. Put out your regular review, but your spoiler review, please do not arm the trolls. Please do not arm more than is necessary. Because those people are going to just go out and try to ruin the movie for everybody. They're going to go into chat board and goes, hey everybody, Iron Man dies in the second act, boom, and then run. And they're going to ruin it for everybody. And you're going to be the one that arms them with that information. So I just, look, it's within your right. You have a right to put up the spoiler review whenever you want. But I am asking, as a member of the film fan community, please think about the health of the film fan community and please hold off. I'm just asking, please, I implore you, please hold off on putting up those spoiler reviews until after the movie opens, at least until after it opens here in North America. Now, that's just my thought. Anyway, the number Thor writes, do you think Snoke is actually dead? Listen at the end of The Last Jedi when Luke, where am I? I lost it all. Oh, there he goes. At the end of Last Jedi, when Luke transported his consciousness to confront Kylo, maybe Snoke done the same thing in the throne room, and he ain't really dead. Your thoughts? No, I've had that discussion 1,000 times. Snoke's dead. He's dead. Because also remember, like, the moment, like, Luke did that, yes, he projected, but, you know, a lightsaber touches him, nothing happens. You know, Kylo Ren goes up to the projection, puts a lightsaber in it, it's like, it just goes right through. That lightsaber sliced him in half, body slumped to the floor, and was there long after it. I mean, so he's dead. He's dead. Yeah, make no mistake about it. He is absolutely dead. And besides, they need him to be dead because they need the focus of episode 9 now to be on Kylo Ren and Rey. We're into the final chapter of the trilogy now. That's where the attention needs to be. It needs to be on Kylo and it needs to be on Rey. And the resolution of this storyline. We don't need another side distraction like Snoke. At least that's what I think. Ethan Hunt writes, hey, John, what would you do if you had $1 million? Maybe get an Ottoman? I think if I had $1 million, I mean, I wouldn't have to walk to the store because if I had $1 million, I'd probably take a limousine just because it costs more. So that's just my thought there. Meet Kumar writes, going back to uni soon, so any recommendations on what to binge? Oh, university. So any recommendation on what to binge on Netflix? By the way, love the new things you're adding to the show. Love from the UK. Thank you so much, Meet Kumar. Things to recommend binging. Well, right now I'm in the midst of binging Halt and Catch Fire. I'm digging this show. I'm just about to finish season 1. I started watching a few days ago, maybe about a week ago. Lee Pace, Scoot McNairy, it's Mackenzie. It's just a dynamite show. Not at all what I thought it was going to be. Totally different show than what I thought it was going to be. But I have really, really dug it so far. Okay, guys, listen, that's all the time I have for live questions today. We got to wrap it up, but don't worry, guys. If any of you have questions that are sitting there waiting, they're going to be put on the companion video that's coming up in just a couple of hours, so keep your eyes open for that. That will do it for me for this installment, guys, of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much again for joining me. My name is John Campea, and until my next video, bye-bye.